Thank you, ISEAS Yusof Ishak Institute, for inviting me to speak before such a distinguished audience. And I would like to take this opportunity to congratulate the Singaporeans on your recent moves and successful election. Congratulations to Singapore, a well-developed and successful city-state. And for us, Malaysia, we still have a few things to juggle. When I saw the topic, the political landscape of Malaysia, I asked myself, where should I begin? Perhaps the best way is to share with you a few key turning points in Malaysia political landscape. Since independence, Malaysian politics has been dominated by UMNO. I think all of you probably know UMNO, through the coalition of Barisan Nasional. In the year 2008 general election, after their landslide majority in 2004, for the first time, Barisan Nasional lost its two-thirds majority in the parliament. Barisan Nasional lost control of Selangor, Penang, Perak, Kedah, and Kelantan. The result was attributed to growing public anger over the rising cost of living, government inefficiencies, and alleged abuse of power. 10 years later, in GE 2018, BN failed to form the federal government. Not only did BN lose Putrajaya, it also lost control of states like Perak, Kedah, Sabah, Melaka, Negeri Sembilan, and Johor, in addition to Selangor and Penang. As a result of public outrage over the 1MDB scandal, Barisan Nasional was reduced to governing only 3 out of 14 states, which is Perlis, Pahang, and Sarawak. Johor was symbolic, especially when UMNO was born in Istana Besar Johor. Only less than 2 years later, in 2020, a historic shift happened. The government changed midterm for the first time in our history, marking the fall of PH 1.0 government, giving rise to Perikatan Nasional. The collapse of the Pakatan Harapan government was the result of a fragile coalition, where infighting among its component parties severely undermined unity and stability. Much has been said about the so-called Sheraton move, but the truth is, there was no such move. Only a constitutional transition carried out entirely within the legal framework of our parliamentary democracy. PH rode to victory in 2018 on anti-Barisan Nasional, anti-corruption sentiment, but it collapsed in less than 2 years. You may question me why. The answer is simple. There was no trust between them, especially between Bersatu, my party, PKR, the Prime Minister's party, and DAP. To make matters worse, those days, the leaders clashed and fueled tensions over the promised succession plan. It also proved the deeper dysfunction within PH, the absence of a working consensus due to fundamental and ideological differences, one that was bound to collapse from the start. As they say, oil and water don't mix. Ladies and gentlemen, the resignation of Tun Mahathir in February 2020 led to the appointment of Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin, President of Bersatu, as the 8th Prime Minister of Malaysia. It was far from smooth sailing for the newly formed government, later to be called Perikatan National Government. Barely days into office, we were thrust into an unprecedented crisis, the COVID-19 global pandemic. Alhamdulillah, despite the odds, we managed to navigate through the storm with firm leadership, clear planning, and swift action. The Perikatan National Government, as also acknowledged by the World Bank, implemented a series of strategic economic stimulus packages like Penjana, Permai, Pemekasa, and Pemulih, designed to protect jobs, support small and medium enterprises, SMEs, and stabilize household incomes during the COVID-19 crisis. Under PN's leadership, Malaysia's economy not only survived, but began to recover. By 2022, the country recorded a remarkable GDP growth of 8.7%, the highest in ASEAN. As a result, unemployment fell from 5.3% in May 2020 to 3.6% by the end of 2022, and the business community regained confidence. This is proof that the Perikatan National is not just a coalition of convenience. We are a coalition of the capables. Perikatan National is led by individuals with decades of combined experience in the government. Many of our leaders are former ministers, seasoned policymakers, technocrats, and crisis-tested administrators. Present with us today, for example, Datuk Sri Taqiyuddin Hassan, former Minister of Law, as well as former Minister of Energy and Natural Resources. Datuk Sri Safuddin just came in, just walked in. Former Minister of Foreign Affairs, and also former Minister of Communication. Datuk Wan Saiful, Wan Jan, former Chairman of National Higher Education Fund Corporation, or we call PTPTN. They are not first-timers. They are not new to the government. They are seasoned, proven leaders who have steered the country through crisis, crafted national policies, and earned their flying hours in governance. With sufficient flying hours, Perikatan National is capable of piloting the aircraft both domestically and internationally. Simply put, during its reign, Perikatan National delivered. We govern with compassion and purpose. We save lives and we revive the economy. As Winston Churchill said, the price of greatness is responsibility. And in Malaysia's toughest moment, Perikatan National stood firm and navigated the crisis with steady hands and clarity. After securing victories earlier in November 2021 in Malacca state elections and in March 2022 in Johor state elections, UMNO grew increasingly confident of returning to power in the 15th general election. Riding on this momentum, Parliament was dissolved at the end of 2022, paving the way for general election or GE15. It was unlike any other election in our nation's history. For the first time, we witnessed a fierce three-corner contest across the board. Perikatan Nasional, Pakatan Harapan, and Barisan Nasional, each going into battle independently. Let me remind all of you, the president of UMNO himself publicly swore in the name of God that there would be no cooperation between UMNO and ANwar. No ANwar, no DAP, no Bersatu. That was a solemn declaration, a binding promise made before the Malaysian public. Pakatan Harapan at the same time campaigned aggressively against Barisan Nasional, promising the rakyat to punish the UMNO president and many other UMNO leaders. Their signature GE15 team song, I can't sing, otherwise I will sing the same song. Hoi, hoya, hoi. A catchy tune adapted from P. Ramlee's classic film Alibaba and 40 Thieves, used to drill into the rakyat's minds that Barisan Nasional was nothing more than a coalition of, I don't mind to use this word, I hope you don't mind too, they said it, penyakau, penyamun, and perompak. Or in English, crook, robber, and raider. This is what they used during the campaign. Whereas Perikatan Nasional at that time, being a new boy, good boy, campaigned on a promise of clean, stable, and compassionate government. In short, PN best. PN offered steady leadership focused on the rakyat with our proven track record. The results of GE15 were unprecedented. For the first time in Malaysia's political history, no single coalition held a simple majority to form the government. Malaysia had entered the hung parliament scenario, and unfamiliar and constitutional challenging situation. But here is what many continue to downplay or conveniently forget. Immediately after that, Perikatan Nasional was the first to command a clear numerical advantage. We secured and submitted statutory declaration, SD, from more than 112 members of parliament. In fact, 115 altogether. And PN was offered the chance to form a government with PH and BN, a broad-based coalition that could have, in both form and substance, become a true unity government. But Perikatan Nasional chose to decline, because we believe such an arrangement would have been nothing more than another marriage of convenience, which is doomed to fail, just like PH 1.0 in 2020. By definition, the current PH-BN government cannot be considered a true unity government. Their fundamental differences in principle and ideology are incompatible. And on many occasions, they cannot even agree on basic matters. As the saying goes, lions don't sleep with leopards. They clash. Ladies and gentlemen, the Malaysian Parliament is now halfway through their term. We are entering the second half. But if you have been watching closely, you know there has been a painful first half for the rakyat. Let me share with you an analogy that everyone can relate to: a football match. We love the game. We understand the rules. We know the drama. And just like in football, governing a country requires plan, discipline, chemistry, and results. A football team can never win a game just by printing flashy jerseys and having bundles of slogans. What matters is what happened on the field. And on the field, this team has been distracted by cameras and ceremonies Before the match, the captain roused the crowd. He fired up the fans and raised expectations sky high, promising a legendary performance. He made the fans believe that history was about to be written. He stirred the imagination of loyal supporters, long thirsting for a trophy. Ini kalilah. I hope Singaporeans understand the word ini kalilah. He made the fans sing in unison, cancel student loans, abolish tolls, cheap patrols, war on corruption. They came on the field, the referee blew the whistle, they delivered one of the most disappointing performances during the first half. Worse still, on the field, they started going against each other. What really happened on the field during the first half? The captain wants to play every position. He wants to be the striker, the midfielder, the defender, and even sometimes the goalkeeper. Every move, every microphone, every camera, he must be at the center. He doesn't trust the team. He knows many of them don't have enough flying hours. And let me summarize. The captain hawks the ball, strikers run backwards, defenders push forward without cover. There is no game plan. No one trusts anyone. The infighting in the locker room is in a mess. Fans started losing faith. This football team is clearly heading for relegation. I think you all understood when I said relegation. I hope so. Ladies and gentlemen, no team can win a game when there is no chemistry, no discipline, and no clear vision. When you have a dysfunctional team, you will end up losing. Maybe that is one of the reasons why an electoral reform NGO called Bersih rated them a D. In addition, 9 Bar Council presidents, Malaysia Bar Council president, also raised concerns about the states of governance. A weak and ineffective government is a glaring red flag and a major turnoff in any part of the world. A good government is built on clear decisions, strong leadership, and firm, consistent policies that guide the nation forward. Let us change into the future government. Ladies and gentlemen, Perikatan Nasional is ready to serve. Our momentum is growing stronger. Let me give you some numbers. In the year 2022, GE15, we actually won 74 parliamentary seats. We need only 4 more seats in Perak and 5 more seats in Pahang to form government. In the 2023 state elections, there were 245 seats being contested. Barisan Nasional only won 19 seats. Barisan Nasional only won 19 seats. Pakatan Harapan won 80 seats, while Perikatan Nasional won 146 seats, which is 60% of the total contested. We also achieved a historic clean sweep, 32-0 in Terengganu. Won 43 of 45 out of 45 seats in Kelantan and 33 out of 36 seats in Kedah. We only needed 7 more seats to form the government in Selangor and make remarkable inroads in Penang as well as Negeri Sembilan. Perikatan Nasional is clearly outperforming the electoral alliance between Barisan Nasional and Pakatan Harapan. Even though it was an uphill battle, going up against the full weight and resources of Putrajaya in 2023. As of the current situation, Perikatan Nasional commands a total of 208 elected state assemblymen nationwide. And we form the government in 4 states: Perlis, Kedah, Kelantan, and Terengganu, as mentioned by you, Mr. Chua. At the federal level and the states where we serve as the opposition, Perikatan Nasional remains committed to being a credible check and balance, a constructive opposition. We will raise issues responsibly, backed by facts, data, and truth. We will support policies and actions that are good for the people and the country. Whenever people call upon us, we are ready. Like a ship anchored in stormy waters, we stand steady, ready to sail when the winds of the people shift. The future is about the game plan. Perikatan Nasional has a better game plan for Malaysia. Our goal is clear: to fix what is broken, especially in economy and politics. For Malaysia's economy, the vision is to bring us out of the middle income trap, to become a high income nation with a balanced and fair approach, while ensuring shared prosperity guided by the federal constitution. Just to let you all know, prior to joining politics, I was actually a businessman. I was involved in quite a number of sectors in business, like property, construction, manufacturing industries, as well as financial sectors. Through my experience, looking at Malaysia's current state of economy, we can no longer afford to be complacent. It is high time for us to reignite Malaysia's economy, to revive it with purpose and direction, and to move forward smarter, faster, and more equitably. A fresh, vibrant, and dynamic economy is within reach. If we have the will and the capability for structural reform to redefine our national priorities, adopt responsible fiscal discipline, and expand our revenue base in a sustainable and strategic way. We must redefine our national priorities by ensuring balanced spending between development and welfare, protecting the vulnerable group with compassion. Our focus must shift to high-impact investment and capacity building in education, women and youth empowerment, digital infrastructure, and technical skills to prepare our country for the future. We will be the government that adopts a responsible fiscal discipline policy with a clear focus on reducing the nation's overdependence on debt. This requires reforming the tax system for greater efficiency, eliminating leakages and wastage, and streamlining government services through digitalization and cutting red tape. In order to expand our revenue base, Malaysia must tap into new and sustainable sources of wealth, such as renewable energy and critical minerals like rare earths. At the same time, we must move up the global supply chain, especially in the semiconductor sector, where we are currently too reliant on intermediary roles to capture higher value-added opportunities. We will introduce bold measures to incentivize productivity as a key strategy to drive economic output, enhance national competitiveness, and generate higher income and tax revenue. To attract quality investments and compete globally, Malaysia must create a new investor appetite, grounded in confidence, transparency, and efficiency. Our ease of doing business ranking has slipped from 12, has slipped to number 12 currently, I think, from a few years back, which is much better than the current position. We aim to return to the top 10 by simplifying licensing, cutting approval times, and aggressively combating corruption. At the same time, we are committed to restoring investors, especially their confidence, by ensuring political stability as well as clear and consistent policies. Because investors value more on predictability and not uncertainty. Additionally, we will drive capital market. How to do that? By introducing new and diverse financial instruments in both the capital and equity markets, offering a fresh flavor to investors, both domestic and international. And to build a resilient and self-sustaining economy, Malaysia must reduce its over-dependence on external inputs, whether in food production or labor. A nation that cannot feed itself and relies excessively on imported manpower is vulnerable to global shocks and supply disruptions. By 2023 alone, Malaysia imported over 75 billion ringgit worth of food, a figure that is both staggering and unsustainable. Perikatan Nasional is committed to strengthening food security by boosting the domestic agro industry, modernizing agricultural practices, and empowering young agropreneurs through targeted incentive and training. Our goal is clear: to move towards food self-sufficiency and reduce our reliance on food imports. While foreign workers have played an important role in our development, over-reliance on them is no longer sustainable. We will reduce the dependency by investing in automation, upskilling the local workforce, and promoting vocational and technical training. At the same time, we will protect workers' rights by encouraging collective bargaining to ensure fairness and dignity for all. Perikatan Nasional envisions a Malaysia that is ready for the future, with PN in the driver's seat. We will embrace robust technological changes by making artificial intelligence, AI, green energy, and the digital economy the core pillars of our national transformation agenda. This means investing in emerging technologies, promoting local tech innovation, and ensuring our education and workforce policies are aligned with demands of a rapidly evolving global economy. Our commitment is to build a prepared Malaysia for the future that is smart, competitive, and sustainable while preserving humanity. Ladies and gentlemen, our multiracial society is our proudest asset, but also our toughest test. When unity is taken for granted, diversity can turn from strength to struggle. I would like to reflect that the last major political reset was in 1970, after the unfortunate racial tragedy of 13 May 1969. It was followed by decades of peace and growth. I believe that the peace and growth we enjoyed at that time were made possible because the rakyat trusted the government and with that trust, they were willing to tolerate, accommodate, and respect one another across racial, religious, and cultural lines. PN's mission is to instill political stability in Malaysia that will allow the country to grow, to be united, and to prosper. Today, we need a new reset to achieve social cohesion. The foundation for political reset lies on leadership that is not only accepted by the majority, but must also be respected by all. Malaysia needs leaders who are honest, one who is direct and brave in speaking the truth, guided by the principle of candor. Inclusive, someone who wholeheartedly represents all races, religions, and regions. A fair, a leader who can ensure not only justice be done, but also seen to be done. It is a kind of leadership which is firm but fair, inclusive with principles. A new national consensus. Berkata national belief, now more than ever, that we need to build a new national consensus. A consensus that is not limited to one race, one religion, or one region, but one that unites the political class, the religious voices, the civil society, and above all, the rakyat. In my opinion, this new consensus must be built upon three cornerstones: a common goal, shared prosperity, and compassionate governance. For the first cornerstone, a common goal to drive nation building beyond partisanship. Malaysia must pass the age of political survivalism. We must reject the politics of revenge and rekindle the spirit of shared nationhood. This is not about who wins the next election. It is about whether Malaysia remains respected and sovereign in a multipolar world. This common goal must not be mere rhetorics. It must be made into a national doctrine. For the second cornerstone, shared prosperity, it is paramount to make sure no community is left behind. Malaysia's development goals must be redefined. We cannot afford a Malaysia where the color of your skin or your postal code determines the quality of your life. For the third and last cornerstone, a compassionate governance rooted in prihatin, humanity, and dignity. Compassionate governance means treating citizens as partners and not burdens. Ladies and gentlemen, we offer a serious, sober, and structured alternative, not theatrics. We are not here to recycle old slogans or to play the same broken tune with new lyrics. We come with a clear plan, a clear moral compass, and a clear national purpose. We believe Malaysia can be better. Let me be clear. Malaysia is not a failed state. No. Malaysia just needs institutional correction, economic resilience, political recalibration, and social coherence. If we fail to act now, we risk losing not just talent to foreign countries, but faith, confidence, and convictions to disillusionment. But if we unite behind this new consensus, rooted in political humility, national honesty, and economic fairness, I believe Malaysia will rise again in the eyes of the world. We have the team, the track record, and the tenacity to take Malaysia forward. Berkata National will focus on substance, not grandstanding. We will choose governance, not gimmicks. We will build a nation that our children will be proud of. We will fix the economy, We will fix the politics, and above all, we will shape the future. A better Malaysia is not a dream. It is a commitment. Thank you. Thank you to all.